Hey, so today is Friday, April 17th, 2026, and it has been an unusually warm week here in Virginia. I think we were near some highs this week. It's been in the 90s, lower 90s, which is like usually June, July, more like July weather. But it ain't gonna last. It's gonna go back to normal in a couple of days, I think. Nonetheless, this warm weather does get people thinking about warm weather stuff. And I was thinking about nudism and the resort that I used to go to. And so I want to talk about that in this video and talk about how pleasant an experience it can be, and that you may want to try it out. And I'm actually gonna make this a two-part video though, because this one's gonna be praising it, and then the next one is going to be actually attacking it. It's gonna be pro clothing, and because I do believe in clothing. So that's going to be the counter argument, but this is going to be the positive thing. And the nudist resort I went to, I haven't been there in a long time. It's actually been 8 years since I last went. And it wasn't like I went there a ton to begin with. The first time I went was 2005, and I went there a grand total, I think, if I'm counting correctly, 14 times. I went, let's see, I think when by the time 2010, from 2005 2010, I went there a grand total of a dozen times, and then I think I went once in 2014 or 15, and then once in 2018, and that's it. So not super regular, but not just once or twice. So I can, I can say that I have a little bit of experience with it. And it's I don't really expect to go there again. That was kind of a part of my life that was just my life kind of split around 8 years ago, and so that was a different chapter of my life, and I don't know if how much of the past will actually join the future, but I don't really expect it to happen. But for those of you who might be interested, I'm going to talk about it. It's something I look back on fondly. It's something I miss because it was a very, very pleasant experience. And let's see, where do I start? Because I never planned this stuff out. All the videos off the top of my head. But like I said, the first time I went actually was in November. It was off season, so there was nobody there. It was basically, I was on vacation, and I decided I'm going to go down there just to find it. There was no going in the pool that day. It wasn't a particularly cold day for November. It was warm enough so that I could walk around the buff and not freeze, but it definitely wasn't a going in the pool day. But at least got me my intro, and so I was able to go down again, I guess, the next year in summer. And then actually it was Memorial Day weekend that I spent the entire weekend there. From Friday to Sunday, I was there, Friday morning to Sunday afternoon. And a friend of mine actually joined me there. He had joined me there a couple of times before, and I was like, hey, you're off this weekend that I'm going to be going down there. You want to join me? And he was like, heck yeah. So I reserved a cabin for two, and he took off work early that day, so we spent the weekend there, and it was really nice. And when you go to a nudist resort, you acclimate very quickly. It doesn't take long for you to lose the feeling of nakedness. Well, the whole idea of you forget you're naked thing, it doesn't really, that's not strictly speaking true. What you lose is the sense of naked, like, oh my gosh, I'm naked, oh, oh my gosh, I'm exposed, I'm in, you know, and there's other people. You lose that very quickly. You don't forget you're naked. You you totally realize you're naked because you're very, very comfortable. Um, and then with the other naked people around, you very quickly go from seeing a bunch of naked people to seeing a bunch of people. Again, you're not blind. You don't. It's not like you don't notice they're naked, but it stops being weird. It stops being unusual and just becomes normal and just becomes natural very quickly. Um, and let's not pretend that, like I said, you're not blind. You know, when people out in the textile world, as they call it, you know, we notice other people. We look at other people when they're fully clothed. We're gonna look at them when they're naked too, but not in not in a in the way you might think. Uh, it's it's not a any more uh, you know, it's not any less respectful. Let's say. In fact, it's even more so. When people are wearing clothing, you know, you are partially judging them and reacting to them based on how they choose to dress, the style of their clothing, exactly what the style, you know, what the pattern is, and what the colors are, and what they might emphasize and not not emphasize or tuck in or whatever. You're going to be reacting to that, if not at least subconsciously, if not consciously, with in a news resort that doesn't exist. Um, so you're in a way you're judging them in a more you're looking at them in a more natural, in a more fair way. Um, and if you you can't, if you want to get to know them, you got to talk to them. Yeah. Uh, and you know, it's very easy to talk to people at an news resort. Very easy to approach people. Now, granted, it's a resort. People go to a resort, any resort, to relax, to have a good time, to have fun. So that, I mean, that's the default setting for any resort. Um, and that's it for a nudist resort as well. But the nudity helps with that. It just it just cranks it up. It cranks up the relaxation, the comfort, um, and it can actually be quite beneficial um, if you have stress, if you have anxiety, which who doesn't these days, or especially if you have social anxiety, it may help with that. Um, Counterintuitively, it may sound counterintuitive to if you're naked around a bunch of naked people, that it's actually easier to socialize in that setting. Um, I know when once I was there with my friend, and he said to me, you know, you're not the same person here. You're much more you're much more relaxed. You're much more social. You're much more chill. Because I've always been very shy, very timid, which that's kind of the irony. I was always the very reserved one. And when I was a kid, I would not take my clothes off in front of other people. I wouldn't. When we went to the beach, I went in fully clothed, shirt, um, the swimming trunks and underwear under the swimming trunks. Was if I was in the gym shower, I wasn't taking my clothes off in a shower with other people in there. And I even remember being in a doctor's office and refusing to take my shirt off for the doctor. I was really, really reserved. And then remember in ninth grade, for PE class, having to change clothes for that. I wouldn't change clothes around the other guys. I went into another room. Very, very shy. I'm the one who wound up going to a nudist resort. Um, and yeah, like my friend said, I was really comfortable there. Um, so it can help with that. It can help with anxiety. Um, no guarantees, but it can. And also, it can help you to if you are on not friendly terms with your own body, if, um, it can help you to get on better terms with your own body, um, to be more comfortable with in your own skin, certainly, but also just have a more friendly attitude towards your body. Um, if you happen to hate your body, if you're somehow embarrassed by it or something, going to a nudist resort, nudist beach could help with that, because it's all out, and it's all equal, and it's all and everyone else. Yeah, at a nudist resort, you got all types of people. You know, you got all age ranges, all body types, and nothing is tucked in, nothing is nothing is, you know, altered. It's just natural, right? And and so you can get on better terms with your own uh, skin and flesh. Um, so those are some benefits um, that can happen in addition to just, you know, having a good time, just having fun at a resort. And I tell you what, being when you're naked and without any clothing whatsoever, it's so pleasant um, to have everything um, just kind of even. There's nothing creating pressure points anywhere. There's nothing rubbing against your certain parts of your body and not rubbing other parts. There's nothing being tucked tucked in or altered in any way. There's everything. You know, there's no um, everything's just even. And to feel the fresh air, the fresh breeze, and the sunshine all over your body equally, and to um, be around other people in the same condition, and to be completely cool with that, to be completely comfortable with that, it's a wonderful feeling. It really is, um, and to move around without any restrictions whatsoever, um, without any concerns about, you know, whether the swimsuit is shifted or anything like that, you know, to just move naturally and be totally comfortable with it. It's a wonderful feeling. Um, uh, and just you know, it's a resort. You're doing normal things. You're going in the pool. You're playing, you know, the cornhole. You know, where you take the bags of sand, and you're, you know, trying to get it through the hole in the board. I played that a lot. At the Have I mentioned the resort I went to? The name of the resort is Whitetail Resort in Ivor, Virginia, by the way. Yeah, I played cornhole quite a bit. I associate cornhole with with nudism now because that's mainly where I played it. Um, you know, playing pool as well. They have a pool table there. Of course, volleyball. They have an outdoor pool and an indoor pool. They play a lot of water volleyball in the indoor pool. They also have a regular volleyball court where they play regular volleyball. A pedunk, I think it's called pedunk, um, uh, area. Um, and the last time I was there, they'd actually put in a miniature golf course, which I didn't get a chance to play, but that would be really cool. Um, and so it's really nice. You just doing all these uh, things, or just, you know, kicking back in the lawn chair and reading a book, magazine, uh, whatever. Um, if you go, just, you know, make sure you do have sunscreen or something to protect you from the sun. Once I went there and it was overcast, and I thought, I don't need to bother to put sunscreen on today. It's overcast. Dumb. Yeah, I got burned all over that day, and I was miserable at work the next day. I had to wear a full suit for work, and yeah, that was not pleasant. So make sure you do whatever you need to protect your skin. Always take a towel and always sit down on your towel. And take two towels, maybe. Um, take a comb, maybe, to comb out your hair once you get out of the pool. Maybe. Maybe um, some slip-on shoes, some sandals or something, if your feet are sensitive for just walking around. But otherwise, you don't need to take much. You don't need to take much. Um, what else can I say about it? Um, if you try it, if you try it, you spend a few hours at a resort, uh, and then you have to leave, which means having to put your clothes back on. You ain't gonna be happy about that. You'll, like I said, you'll acclimate quickly, and then once you have to leave that environment, you're not gonna like it. Also, once you get, you just really become comfortable with nudism, and you just want to continue like that. You're like, I want to do everything naked. I want to, I want to drive naked. I want to do housework naked, yard work naked. I want to go shopping naked. I want to do exercise naked, which actually that's going exercising naked is might be a good thing. And and certainly going swimming naked. It's once you've gone skinny dipping, and especially communal skinny dipping, you will wonder why swimsuits were ever invented. Really, you'll just look at swimsuits like, why? That's stupid. Um, so you'd be like skinny. In the buff is the only way to go in the water. And why can't why do I have to wear clothing at all when it's warm? Um, so which leads into some of the bullshit that surrounds nudism, which I'll get into in the next video. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's once you experience it, you understand. You may think it's weird to be around a mixed group of people naked. Um, you may think it's strange for it to be a nudist, for it to be a family environment. But once you experience it, it's you'll understand. It's kind of like when you go to the beach, you expect to see more of the human body than you do on a regular basis. Well, nudists just take it the extra step, and it feels totally right. Yeah, and totally, and it feels it's surprisingly innocent. It really is. Um, it's surprisingly, it feels surprisingly wholesome. Um, when people say that it's a that nudism, naturism is non-sexual, it's true. It is. Um, at least in that environment, it is. And it's really, really nice. Um, so I guess I'll wind this video up and move on to uh, into the anti-nudism and pro-clothing video. But if you need, dang it, um, if you need a vacation and you need who doesn't you need to relax, who doesn't, you may want to consider that if you enjoy going to the water or whatever, if you just enjoy resorts or beaches, whatever. Now obviously resorts are not free. No resort is free, so it does take money Whitetail was actually very reasonably priced, um, but it ain't free. And of course, it takes money to travel wherever you're going. You need to travel there, and it takes money. And you know, things are kind of crazy now, so it may not be taking a vacation. Period may not be in the cards for a lot of people, but it's something to keep in mind. And if you do, I cannot imagine that you will regret it. It is that pleasant. I can't imagine that you won't enjoy yourself. Pardon me. I guess something got in there. Anyhow, thanks for listening. Bye.